Hey crypto friends, congrats to the bulls. First things first, it's been a while since I've been concerned with cryptocurrency in my pre-sunrise market preparation routine, putting out an early morning video. We got 7 a.m. Eastern here. So first question, we're going to go through Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, XRP, Binance, and ADA here. And the first question is the bottom in? And obviously nobody has that answer, but if I were forced to make a decision, is the bottom in, the temporary bottom, I would say yes. And the reason for that is the complete psychological shift that we see on this break, number one. Number two, the amount of follow through, and number three, volume. I needed to see follow through and volume, and the fact that we saw a 20% plus bull move in an hour is a big reminder to this market, hey, bulls can still do this. Bulls can still run real hard, and it's a big wake-up call to bears. Any bear that didn't have a stop loss in just got crushed, and they're going to remember that. And bears that did have stop losses in got liquidated. So it's a complete sentiment shift. Again, the psychological aspect of it is the most important part for me. We're going to see crypto talked all on social media all this week. There's going to be big conversation uptick. My video views are going to get more. We're going to see just a big, search results are going to go up. So price action is king when it comes to really sentiment in a space. And when we see this kind of move, and we have all the halvening talk down the road in the future, there's a lot that the bulls are going to be excited about here in 2019 now that we have this shift. So again, the weekly trend has changed on Bitcoin. We have the higher low and higher high. This is the first weekly trend change since the all-time high was hit back in December of 2017. So we have now gone 15 months in a downtrend, and that has changed. We are over the weekly exponential resistances. We're going to see if we can get a bull cross of these exponential resistances. If that happens in the next couple of weeks, that will be further of another further case for a bullish shift. The next key resistance zone that we're looking at is the 5,700s, 5,900s, essentially the 6,000 range, where we had all that price action in the equilibrium before the dump. And getting back to those levels, I do anticipate to see resistance at those levels, but we're going to take it one day at a time as always. And we're watching the volume. As we can see 2 days into the week, we're going to have a high volume week. I want to see more than the 20-week average and to see follow through. We don't want to see just consolidation for the next 4 days on declining volume. We want to see continuation, continue putting pressure on the bears, and keep those bulls very euphoric. So there's your daily candlestick. It is the biggest daily candlestick we've seen in a long time. And I must admit that this is a bigger reaction than I anticipated breaking that resistance level. Obviously, when you see this kind of move happen this fast, it's a ton of longs piling in and a ton of shorts closing, which results in a ton of market buying at the ask to just run that price up. And we did end up pulling back significantly. We're riding the 15-minute exponential moving average support right now on Bitcoin. The key short-term support is down at 46.60. And resistance is up at 51.21. We got another little level, 48.32. So we did end up with a sizable pullback. Obviously, a significant bull move up, but we did drop 9% real quick from that top. So some nice trading volatility and opportunity as well. So personally, I'm going to be having longer term positions, and then I'm going to have trading capital that I'm keeping shorter term, which is exactly what I did in the run up in 2017. So I've been holding my Litecoin smaller position, and that's a couple day maker with the move today, but it's also a small enough position that I can just let it run and use the daily uptrend. So I'm using daily uptrend for my Litecoin position. TCG has an account where we accept payments for crypto in cryptocurrency, and we haven't done anything with that aside from just manage it a little bit. So we sold all our funds when the 6,000 equilibrium broke bearish, and we went all cash, and then we rebought in the 3,000s. We rebought half of that. So we weren't sure if that bottom was in at 3,000, but loaded up half, and now we still have half to buy. So for us that are looking for longer term entries, I'm going to be looking for a weekly consolidation to make an entry. And having enough of a position that we already have solid exposure to this bull move, that keeps me, that's what I call my anti-FOMO positions, because that can keep us patient waiting for weekly consolidation. Because if we have half of our funds in a position and half of our funds cash, we can say, if it keeps going up, great, we're making money. We're not going to complain about it. I'm not going to worry about what could have been, what we could have had. I'm going to say, great, it's going up. And if it pulls back on the weekly, I'm going to say, great, we're looking to add on weekly consolidation. So having that kind of dual mindset where either way that it plays out is fine because there's a game plan for it is the way that I like to trade this space. So we are now, let's zoom into the 4 hour. So the 4 hour time frame, we know RSI levels are extended everywhere. So the question is going to be, how do we break from this tightening range right now? We have our base of support on the hourly. We did get a little bit of follow through. And can the bulls keep the hourly uptrend all day today? Also, a reminder, keep an eye on the blockchain stocks out there. Riot pre-market right now is up 20%. GBTC is going to be gapping up. And I expect these miners and these blockchain names to have a solid day today, obviously, with the, again, sentiment shift. We're going to see more articles. They're going to be talking about it on, well, let's hope they're not talking about it on CNBC, but just a general spike in interest with the spike in price. So we'll watch the hourly higher low. Can Bitcoin bulls maintain that? Litecoin is easily standing out again as such a leader among the major names. And if I'm just looking Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin is leaps and bounds ahead of everybody on this weekly time frame. Look at the weekly bull cross already taking place. And on Bitcoin, that's weeks away. If Bitcoin were to stay, right here, it's probably another 3 to 4 weeks before we would see those exponential moving averages cross. Meanwhile, Litecoin got a little bull flag on the weekly and then continuation. The next resistance level that we're looking at for Litecoin is 69.44 and then up to 76.84. So big time follow through here. I liked the tight daily range here. This is why I chose Litecoin for my entry, and also the lack of resistance above. The reason I didn't choose Ethereum is because of how much resistance it had, which we'll look at in just a second. So a big Litecoin bull break, big time volume, and holding up a bit better than Bitcoin here. You can see it's almost like we pulled back real quick, and then it's just ascending on the 15-minute time frame. 66.19 is a key short-term support level to keep those bulls in full control. And we're heading up to 68.88, our short-term resistance, and bulls are pretty strong overall. Looks like we are seeing a bit of resistance at $68. And just, I woke up this morning and looked at Litecoin on Coinbase here, and I could see that the bot buying was showing up. And I'm certainly putting the alerts back on of our alert system now that there's action in the space, and the bot alerts are coming in. And just as an example here, look at these buys on Litecoin, 5.1 multiple times a second, just rapid fire, pushing that price up. So keeping an eye on the bot activity in the space, turning those alerts back on. We're going to be watching now what market environment alerts are going to be the best. Keeping in mind that after a big bull move, the first time we see hourly RSI oversold, or the first time we see 5-minute RSI oversold, those generally give us some solid bounces. So keeping an eye out for short-term oversold conditions on consolidation to be good short-term entry points for some little day trades. So we'll be watching for that as well, turning on hourly oversold RSI indicators. And let's check in on Ethereum. So Ethereum, this is why I did not choose Ethereum. So when you're looking at Litecoin on the daily time frame, very nice consolidation, and it's just the lack of resistance that allows for easy bull movement. And you look at Ethereum, and we were way far away from our resistance, 165.62, and we didn't even make it close to that level. So you look at the move on Ethereum, and it's just so much less impressive. While percentage-wise, it is definitely, in line with Litecoin. It's not too far off. Litecoin ran more, but it's not way behind. Just the fact that it was so far from this resistance level, and we had all these resistances to get through. 147.23, 145.48. We broke those levels, but couldn't get over 165.62. So we still don't have a weekly higher high yet, whereas Litecoin and Bitcoin very easily have higher highs on the weekly time frame. So it is worth keeping an eye on Ethereum because this momentum will shift. And again, we're watching the ETH-BTC chart to be keeping an eye on things. But at this point, obviously it is out of favor. And again, that will change. Look at the bear drop here. So this is Ethereum compared to Bitcoin. And obviously, Bitcoin making leaps and bounds ahead of Ethereum at this point. And we got a weekly equilibrium to be watching on this ETH-BTC setup. 2981 was our recent low, and we just bounced right off that level. So keeping an eye on this ETH-BTC ticker to know when favor is going to shift back to Ethereum, but it's not at this point, so I am not interested in Ethereum as a bull. XRP also had a bunch of resistances to battle. 355 is the key level that needs to break, and we got to 346. So unable to break that resistance at this point. We can see the weekly time frame. Remember, we had our base of the double bottom at 285. And if we break 354, that will be not really exactly a trend change. That'll be a double bottom and then a break of lower highs. It'll certainly be the makings of a trend change, but bulls just want to get over this exponential resistance. And we have to watch how the rest of the week goes, because if we fade for the next 4 days, then we're going to reject from this exponential resistance yet again. So bulls really want to close over that level and get over these weekly exponential resistances. And as of right now, a solid move on XRP. But again, we're just looking at percentage moves here, and it's in line with Ethereum and actually slightly behind Ethereum. So Bitcoin saw the biggest percentage move so far that we've looked at. Litecoin was second, Ethereum third, XRP fourth. Binance is doing its own thing without Bitcoin's help, but this certainly only helps because the more action you see, if Binance is a token that is used on their exchange and more users means more activity, they're certainly going to get more users with a spike like this. A lot of people are going to be checking back in on cryptocurrency who have not checked on cryptocurrency in a long time. So for Binance, we're just seeing continued daily follow through. 1596 is support on the daily time frame, and we're looking up at 20 psychological. This weekly time frame has been an absolute beast, and all-time highs are in sight as the next major resistance levels. So aside from psychological levels, absolutely I expect Binance to hit all-time highs in 2019. And we may need to see a little bit of weekly consolidation before that happens. But the bulls have a lot of favor on Binance. And again, like I said, I personally am going to be exploring potentially heading on over to Binance to have as my home platform now that Coinbase is changing its fee structure and not an ideal place at this point comparatively. So for consolidation on BNB, the 4-hour time frame, I'm just watching 4-hour uptrends on all these names and taking a bit of a bigger picture. And because I have a smaller position in Litecoin, if I had my full stack or even 3/4 or half my stack in a position, I would have to be a lot more active on it because these swings of multiple dollars on Litecoin would be major US dollar swings. But because it's smaller, I can be a lot more passive and just let the trend play out. So I'm watching 4-hour uptrends as step number one. And we know that any consolidation, we're going to anticipate 4-hour higher lows to form. So that will keep the bulls in control. We can anticipate healthy consolidation the first time around. And we're going to be watching volume. What does the bear volume look like? Can the bears respond to this, or do they stay reeling, on their heels with the bulls now seizing momentum? ADA USDT had been one of the stronger altcoins heading into this move, and just another continuation. The volume was dropping off, and now that's changing with today's action. So pretty much 2 inside bars yesterday almost, or the past 2 days, and then our bull move to follow through. Weekly time frame here has seen significant follow through since the trend change. This is exactly what the bulls want to see for the next couple weeks. If you're talking ideal scenario on Bitcoin, now that we changed the weekly trend, ADA, and I pointed this out in the last video, that this is exactly what the bulls want to see. So 2 extra weeks of follow through and huge bull volume after the resistance breaks. So if we can see another 2 green weeks on Bitcoin after this bull break and high bull volume, it will be, again, very convincing that the bottom is in for now. ADA, 4-hour time frame, certainly very healthy. We're going to look for a higher low to form there. Again, decent pullbacks on the 15-minute time frame, although it looks like Bitcoin did pull back the most, as these other names are holding up really well, just trading sideways. Short-term key support for me here is 7712, and we're going to look at our recent high of 8 cents as key psychological resistance. So overall, everything holding up just fine on this consolidation. No signs of any pump and dump or anything like that. We're going to be watching for continuation this week. Healthy daily higher lows and higher highs after this kind of significant bull move will be very convincing of follow through and confidence. So there's going to always be people that are calling for another leg down. So keep that in mind. And not saying that we can't see another leg down, because we do have to prepare for everything in our game plans. But just be aware that a lot of people are going to have missed this move expecting one more leg down under 3,000, and they're going to stick to their guns, and they're going to say, we're still expecting a move down under 3,000. And it's important to establish your own game plan and get a whole bunch of varying opinions out there as you do so. So again, congrats to the bulls. Some nice gains overnight, nice surprise to wake up to. And we are going to continue monitoring this space a lot more actively. And we're going to continue putting out more consistent videos now that there is more action. So we'll likely get back in the routine of a daily crypto video. And need to figure out where I'm going to fit that into my current daily routine. So I appreciate you all watching. I hope you have a great Monday, and let's see if these bulls can keep it up. Certainly a great start to the week. Again, blockchain names today. For those of you in the stock market, keep an eye on them, as I do expect some solid activity. Thanks again. We'll see you soon. Have a great day. For this chapter of Adventure Time, we're going to Capitol Reef National Park, and then we're going to Calf Creek Falls. Still making our way through Utah. And Capitol Reef is a cool one. It's similar in terms of landscape to other areas, but a little bit more majestic, magnificent, big rocks, some caves to nap in. And it's cool because they have an orchard inside the national park that they maintain, and some nice land and some farming in the middle of a national park. Sounds like a pretty good deal to me. This looks like the gates of Mordor, just huge rock masses with roads passing in between them. Nice little natural tunnel, or I should say a natural bridge over here. Long stretches of open road, cool colored. I love how you can see, like I said in another video, pretty much just time, where the different shades of rock aging over time as it builds up on itself. And the road back. And this is one of the farms areas. And again, you wouldn't think Utah would have some nice lush green grass, but definitely a healthy farm. And you can buy the produce from the orchards while you're in the national park. Pretty cool setup they've got going. Then I went to Calf Creek Falls, just a nice little hike. I think it's a state park. Let's see, the difference between national parks and state parks, obviously size and funding and amenities. And there's less to do most of the time, but they're nice little stops and there's more of them. So some states have a ton of state parks that just have a little thing like this. You know, you can walk up and take a little swim, and there's campsites and a campground. And I would travel, even when I wasn't, road tripping on a massive cross-country trip, I would, rather than stop at a hotel if I'm driving, 10 hours, I'd break up that drive by just camping in state parks along the way. You can camp for $10 as opposed to getting an $80 hotel room. This was some more petroglyphs on the side of a canyon here, and there was no sign. The trail to see this is, 100 to 200 yards away. And there's no sign that said, don't leave the trail. So I left the trail and meandered my way up close. I had to cross a river and take all my clothes off and carry them over my head because it was up to my chest. That was a fun experience, a little midday adventure, and climbed up the rock and got real close to see the details of this painting. And we'll end it off with what I aptly named Blank Rock, and I'll let you all come up with your own names in the YouTube comments. This is in Kodachrome State Park. I think that's how you say it. I had Paul Simon's song stuck in my head the whole time I was there. But there were a lot of interesting rock shapes, as you can see. So that's it. We'll continue making our way through Utah. I believe we've got, forget the name of it, the next Bryce Canyon National Park's coming up next. Hope you all had a good Monday, and we'll see you tomorrow.